Mm, mm, mm. Hmm. All right. So, hello, America. So, today, this is actually my first time going live. So, America, what is it with you? American people, what is it with you? What are you afraid of? You afraid of dying? I mean, of course, dying is imminent. You're not going to be able to get away from it. Regardless of how healthy you are, if it's your time, it's your time. Just prepare. But America is trapped. The American people are trapped in this matrix of confusion and believing what is true and what is not true. Believing in people who do not have your best interests at heart. But you're trusting man more than you trust your creator. Understand, all of this comes into existence. Nothing is created just, how should I say it? It's kind of like it's kind of like a yin and a yang. One is not created without the other. There may be multiple viruses out there, but guess what? There's always a patent. There's always a cure for these viruses. Now, man cures, you really think about it, a lot of things that are man-made come with side effects, comes with flaws because we are flawed. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is ever perfect. America, you are trapped. And I blame a lot of you all for allowing yourselves to be trapped. I blame a lot of people for creating further division, especially in this country. And we have enough which is dividing people as it is, you know. Um and it's time to stop, you know. I hear a lot of I hear a lot of chattering and cackling about those who are unvaccinated are a imminent threat to those who are vaccinated, I guess. But also, I must say this. Suddenly, when when have you all When have you all actually given a fuck about the health and well-being of others around you in your community? Like suddenly 2021 has became the year of giving a fuck about the people in your community. So beforehand, in 2019, 2020, 2018, no one necessarily really gave a fuck about the health and well-being of others. Why? Because people understand that that is your right. You know, if you want to, if you want to die, that is your right. And they actually give you the right that if you just want to pass away peacefully for whatever reason, then there are doctors that will grant you your wish. Think about it. Just think about it. Think about it for just a moment. Beforehand, there wasn't a care in the world when the flu epidemic was going around and it was killing people. It, that wasn't a big issue. That wasn't a big issue at all. But people were dying, you know, people were dying. But we're trapped though. And I know you're saying trapped. Okay, trapped in what way? Here. We're trapped here. And the reason why I say that we are trapped here is because it's coming off as if this country is becoming a communist country. Speaking up for yourself and standing up for your beliefs is suddenly becoming it's being viewed as a negative thing. It's being viewed as, oh, you are a terrorist to the American people if you speak against something that we are trying to push. I could never be a terrorist because I'm thinking for myself. You people want to consider me or view me as a terrorist? How? I haven't taken anyone's life. I have not taken anyone's lives at all. So how in the hell can you call people who are not vaccinated? You want to slap terrorists on that? You want to slap this terrorist label on them, but then you don't think your government entity is a terrorist? Your government entity had people murdered and it's like, hey, is that not terroristic to you? You don't think it's terroristic when the government entity approves programs in place historically that has eradicated a number of indigenous or American people, Is that not terroristic to you? To live in a country that formulates programs that end up altering the lives of its citizens, its residents, people who were born and raised there. Again, American people are trapped. And they're trapped up here. Why? Because a lot of folks just, I'm led to believe most Americans just don't want to think for themselves. It's like, you don't want to think for yourself. Then you got some Americans, hell, they don't even want to work, you know. And that's, you know what? And that brings me to another, oh snap. That brings me to another interesting point. And that is America. I would like to know, why is it that your president, right? Your president, your so-called commander in chief and whatnot, why is it that surprisingly he's exempt from, he's exempt, his administration is exempt from getting this 100% safe and effective jab? Like, why is he and his administration exempt from it? Like, if anyone, if those who are unvaccinated are a threat and they are terrorists, then what is your president? Like, seriously, what in the what in the world do you call your president? If unvaccinated, hear me out. If unvaccinated people are being considered terrorists, especially if they're speaking against this whole jab and pandemic, if they are terrorists, then what do you consider the Biden administration in? Because they're exempt from taking it. I was listening to Democracy. There's a video, an interview on Democracy Now channel, Democracy Now, and it's an interview between the host of Democracy Now and a doctor that goes by the name of Leana Wen, W-E-N. Now, this is an Asian, and she's vaccinated, but her children are not vaccinated, right? Her reasoning is because her children are too young to be vaccinated right now. But she stated in her interview that those who are vaccinated still have the potential of infecting those who are not vaccinated. Also, from some other from another source, I learned that even if you have tested positive for this particular C-19 and whatnot, if you have tested positive and you have gone through the process and you have healed, which I'm not even going to sit up here and lie to you all. I know someone personally that actually went through it, and they were seems like they were viewed as being 10 times stronger because now their body has adjusted to that particular virus. Now again, I'm not a virologist, I'm not a rocket scientist, but I will say this much. When it comes to common sense isn't common amongst common folks. It's really not. But I understand, most Americans, they most Americans really and truly want to get back to a sense of normalcy. That's not that's not even going to happen. Normalcy is it's not going to happen. And the reason why I'm saying it's not going to happen because this is the start of new world order, because now in other countries where their their ambassadors, their presidents, their prime ministers, those who actually prefer not to subject their residents, their people to uh to this pandemic, this jab. If you notice, they're coming under a level of pressure and scrutiny. Mind you, one president was actually assassinated because he flat out stated that no, his people are not he's not going to force his people into taking something that he knows is going to harm his people. And then all of a sudden, he was assassinated. And then a short time later, they were sending vaccines to his country. It's just so convenient how that happened. So convenient. But I really and truly wanted to hop on and just speak my piece. I'm gonna continue to speak it because the more and more I think about it, the more and more it's starting to it's so many loopholes, you know? It's a lot of loopholes. It's a lot of Americans who are just they you have some Americans that are afraid, that don't know any better, that really make the conscious decision not to do what is right for themselves. You know, they just I'm just not I I just I can't see how the rest of Americans cannot see exactly what's going on here. Like, are we not supposed to operate with our own intuition and trust our gut feeling about what's going on right now? Hmm. Rubicon 4x4 says Congress and its staff are not beholden to Biden's executive orders that will require vaccination for all federal workers. But that's not because he specifically exempt them. Congress and its staff are not beholden to Biden. Mm. Well, you learn something new every day, huh? I won't even lie to you. This is, you know, it's, you know, it's really ass backwards to me. It's ass backwards to me because now wherever I go, I see people walking out in open public spaces with face masks on. I see people wearing face masks and they have obtained the jabs, right? But they obtained the jabs, but they're still doing the same thing that they were doing before they even got the jab. Like this, and during this time and what's going on, this should influence a lot of people, a lot of just not only Americans, but this should really and truly influence a lot of people to get out and exercise. This should influence people to get out and pay much more attention to their health and well-being. Like how like it to me, it seems like the only ones who are saying this are the doctors who are getting discredited in speaking against this whole pandemic shit. They're the ones being discredited as if the only way, the only protections you really have from this particular virus is what man is about to give you. But moreover, if you're for it, then hey, if you are an employer and you are and you're pushing this on your employees, then don't make them sign a waiver. Why? Because you don't want to be held liable? That's smart. That's intelligent. That's real mature. You don't want to be held liable, right? Why is it you don't want to be held liable for something that you believe is 100% safe and effective? Because you don't believe it yourself. Let me say it again. If you are forcing your employees to put something in their body that rightfully they have every right to say no. But if you're going to force them to take something in order for them to keep their job, in order for them to go out in public spaces and shop and do the things that every human being is entitled to do, then don't force them to sign, don't have them to sign a waiver. Because if you're saying that something is 100% safe and effective, then stand by it, back it. But if you notice, nobody wants to stand behind it. And that's where most Americans are trapped at. They're trapped at that particular point of thinking that, they said it's safe and it's safe and effective. Okay. So if I happen to give you a glass of water, and that water is not pure, it's slightly tainted because I made it, it's created by man, and I'm telling you, hey, drinking this water is safe and effective. You know what most people are just going to be like, I don't trust it. And then that's the end of the discussion. Most people will say, no, I don't trust that. And I mean, don't get me wrong, because that's your right. You're supposed to say no. You're supposed to question these things. But folks love to bring up science and everything, and I get it. I was like, yeah, science this and science that, but also those individuals who are performing these sorts of tests, you got to remember these are human beings too. You know, I remember a time where they had they had a lab technician that actually she did a couple of years in prison. I think she's out right now, but she was she was purposely tampering with blood samples. She was tampering with evidence that would have exonerated a lot of incarcerated men in prison. And then when it was discovered that she was tampering and she was doing things dishonorably and with a dishonest heart, when she was discovered, they went on ahead and just tossed her into jail for, I think she got less than 5 years, which that's something else I really don't understand. I'm just like, everything that you have put your hands on is tainted. You have to discredit it now. You have to throw it out. It's like, no. But I bring up that particular individual that I can't even recall her name, but I bring up that situation to make a very valid point. And that point is, stop being trapped. Stop thinking that just because an individual is a doctor, a nurse, a political figurehead, that these people don't lie. These people will look you dead in your face and lie. Historically, it's been done. Historically, it's been proven. But hey, America, this must be exactly where you want to be. You want to be governed. You want to be controlled. You want to be told what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Okay. And again, that's your right. Because if you want to be a fool, if you want to be a pawn, who am I to say not to be a fool, not to be a pawn? Who am I to say that? But of course, if there's a, if there's a mass, if there's a trap door and I know it's there and I see people walking into this trap door and they fall and they plunge, they just keep falling and falling and falling and they don't know when they're going to hit bottom. And I don't say anything about it and I know about it, most Americans would look at me and hate my guts. But when you're being honorable and caring and compassionate towards people in general, it just seems like most people don't receive that well. They don't. But oh well. Okay. What can you say, right? People are going to do what they're going to do. So if you want to remain trapped, hey, that's your right. Who am I to say untrap yourself? Like for real. Who am I to say untrap yourself? But I will say this much. I don't have empathy for ignorance. So keep that in mind. I'm gonna go ahead and get on this road. I'm gonna get back home. I just had some work to do. So I wanted to go live for the first time on YouTube, which I don't know how long this is gonna last, but we're gonna see. Like heck, the way things are looking and going right now, it's like shoot, be able to get a couple of my constituents on so they can share their personal opinions and viewpoints, because at the end of the day we have to learn from each other, you know. I don't portray to know it all, but I'm far from stupid. And no one, I repeat, no one is going to tell me what's best for my health and well-being, because that's my job. I know that. Let me care for myself. Because if it's not broke, don't fix it. But yeah, remember people, your joy and happiness belongs entirely to you. Stop giving away your joy and happiness to undesirable individuals. Because what does that leave you with? Nothing. Leaves you with nothing. Besides depression, anxiety. So keep that in mind going about your the remainder of your weekend. Be safe, stay in love, but most of all, protect yourselves, okay? So I will talk with you all later. And again, feel free to leave your comments below. I really, really would appreciate to hear from all of my subscribers, those who have, those who have chimed in. I greatly appreciate you. Continue to share, continue to click the thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate that. But again, Americans, it's time to untrap yourselves. Remember, only you know what's best for you. What someone else may feel is best for you isn't always in your best interest. So I will talk with you all soon. Y'all stay in love, all right?